I'm in here. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'm just outside, just enjoying the outside weather. It's amazing down here in South Florida. Beautiful here, beautiful day. I mean, if I turn the camera towards the sun, that's gonna white out because of saturation. But it's really nice out here. I'm on the lake and I'm just, taking in the beautiful scenes and nature sounds, the birds chirping, the grass getting grounded outside in the backyard, Yeah, just a great, beautiful day, man. I just want to hop on here real quick. Psychic Chick says, you're in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I just left Fort Lauderdale Beach not too long ago. I was on Fort Lauderdale Beach hanging out with my friend Bill Payne. Shout out to Bill Payne, Billy the Billionaire. And I go and meet with him on weekends. So if I'm in town and he's in town, because he lives in 3 different states, and we synchronize when we go meet up, and I give him esoteric wisdom and knowledge, and he gives me financial literacy knowledge. And we've been doing that now for 12 years straight. And he's a billionaire. And so I get a lot of wisdom and understanding from him when it comes to finances, making moves on the market, and business ideas, business concepts, what to do, what not to do, learning from mistakes, the whole ins and outs of everything, and get a good understanding of global economies. He's an economic expert on global economies, and he drops a lot of knowledge to me on that stuff. And we have this symbiotic relationship where I share my knowledge with him, and he shares his knowledge with me, and it makes the relationship work out very, very well. You got to find people that you can link up with, that it's a two-way street on the information. If you're out here just connecting with people where you're the only source of information and you're never learning something from somebody else, then you got to increase the circle a little bit. You got to find, I'm not saying you got to cut those people off, but you got to find somebody that can impart wisdom to you. You can't be the only one that knows everything. You just can't. Because if you're the only person that knows everything, then you're going to be drained. You're going to be drained. And sometimes you get in a position where you're draining yourself too much. You can't even take care of the things that you've got to take care of. Remember, if you allow somebody to become an energy vampire, they will suck the life right out of you. It has to be a two-way street. It's not always going to be a two-way street, and I understand that. But for the people that you link up with like this, you got to have people that contribute back to you. They got to pour back into you like you pour into them. It can't be a one-way street. It just can't be. There'll be no growth on your part if it's only a one-way street. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to get something. When I get with Bill, I get it. I get a lot of today, I walked away like, bam. My brain went zoop. I filled it right back up again with more information. Right now, my brain is sorting all that information out, putting it into file cabinets in my brain, storing it away. What's the top priority? What goes in the back of the file cabinet? You know what I'm saying? Organizing all the information I downloaded today is in my brain, organizing itself so I can actually access it and execute on it. Because when people teach me things, when I learn something from somebody, I don't just go, good information, and walk away. No. I take that knowledge and I apply it. I apply the knowledge. Because you have to understand, knowledge is not power. Knowledge itself, by itself, just knowledge, not power. Knowledge is not going to create freedom for you, just knowing things. I can study and memorize every encyclopedia and every book and everything that ever existed. But if I don't apply one thing in any of that information, then what did I do? I just put my talents underneath a rock. But if I take in information, I take in knowledge, I get information and wisdom and understanding, and then I say, okay, now how can I apply this to my life? How can I utilize this to make my life better and or make other people's lives better as well? And so once you learn how to apply knowledge and put actionable steps behind the knowledge that you've gained, then you have power. You have true power. True power can only be executed by the application of knowledge, because knowledge by itself means absolutely nothing. It's only by applying the knowledge that you actually can affect change in the world and in your own life. All right, so, and again, good note there from somebody in the chat, proper knowledge. That's also important, I see a lot of people that are out here on social media and YouTube, and they're making these accounts to get views and likes, and they're just dropping nonsensical topics and just making up stuff, especially when it comes to science. Like, there's people out here that believe they're smarter. They believe that their IQ is higher than Einstein and higher than Stephen Hawking and higher than Neil Bohr. They might not even know who Neil Bohr is, right? Quantum physicist. They think their IQ is higher than Sylvester James Gates Jr. and Neil deGrasse Tyson. They really think their IQs are higher than them because they come up with these planet-shaped theories and all these things, and the earth doesn't move and all this kind of crazy stuff. And in their mind, they think their IQ is actually higher than these people, when it's actually the opposite. They have never taken the time to spend what these people have done, 15, 20 years of scientific study and research to come to their theories. They take it from a YouTube video they saw somebody talking about. So it's all about applying proper knowledge. I'm glad somebody typed that in the comments. Proper knowledge. Proper knowledge. Based off of real research and investigation. Not pseudo investigation. Not watching 2 or 3 YouTube videos and reading a couple of blogs and going, I know more than Einstein. This planet doesn't even move. Satellites don't exist. There's no atmosphere. When people say stuff like that, they make humans look like idiots. You're saying what you're saying, and when you're adamant about it, what you're saying is you're smarter than all the greatest scientists that ever lived. Your IQ is higher than them. Come on now. We got to be realists too. I'm a realist, and Forbidden Knowledge is going to give you the truth. I'm going to give you the lowdown, and I'm going to tell you, hey, we doing good over here, but over here we ain't doing so good. We ain't doing so good, because let me take any of these people with these crazy theories and let me give them an IQ test. I want to take them to, you know what? I'm going to make that an official challenge, because I went to Dr. Daniel Amen and I took the IQ test. I took the brain spec scan and all that. Let's see. We know IQs. We know the IQs of all the famous greats, the most intellectual minds that ever existed on this planet in modern times. We know Stephen Hawking's IQ. We know Albert Einstein's IQ. We know the IQ of Neil Bohr. We know these IQs already. Let's see if the IQs of these people with these crazy pseudo-scientific videos have the IQ of these geniuses. And there were men more brilliant than them in deeper antiquity, coming out of the land of Kim and Africa and all these other places, but we don't have their IQ ratios because we didn't have an IQ test for them. But we know there was even more brilliant people than them that existed. Even coming out of Sumeria, more brilliant people than them. But let's just take the people in this current era, and let's do an IQ test, and I'll pay for the IQ test. I'll pay for the brain scan. If somebody really thinks that their IQ and their brain is more powerful than some of these other people, and let's just compare apples to apples. I guarantee you it won't work out. It won't work out. And I'll do it too, just to prove a point. I'll pay for it just to prove a point. You're not smarter than Einstein. You're not smarter than Neil Bohr. You're not smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson or even Professor James Gates Jr. Now, are these guys 100% accurate in everything they say and do? No, because we're human beings. Everybody's subject to flaw and mistakes and errors. Even Stephen Hawking got the whole black hole theory incorrect. But the difference between Stephen Hawking and some of these other people that are making all these incredible claims about atmospheres and satellites and all this stuff, Stephen Hawking stopped himself and said, you know what? I screwed up, guys. I made a mistake. I was wrong. After deeper research into the black holes, I realized I was wrong about black holes. They're not even eternal. Black holes actually evaporate. Yeah, those 2 beams of gases that shoot out from both sides of black holes, that's how we can find them. We find them by those gases. That gas is a form of radiation. And that radiation has a lifespan. It has a decay rate. And because of that decay rate, we now know that black holes actually evaporate over time. They're not eternal. So he had to go back and correct himself publicly and then rewrite his information in new books and context. And that made it finally into astrophysics books. And now we know that because of, now it's been named Hawking's radiation, we know that black holes are not eternal and they do actually evaporate. They die, just like everything else dies. Interesting. But see, that takes away, you got to rip away the ego. In order to do that, you got to rip away the ego. But the people that are running around with all these nonsensical concepts of satellites are fake and you can see the other side of the planet and ice walls and all this stuff, they won't take down the ego. They'll never take down the ego. They'll never be open to going to a paid science course in class. And they truthfully, honestly believe that the thousands of quantum physicists in the world that work for independent total companies went and worked in their entire lives and spent $200,000 or $300,000 to go to college to learn quantum mechanics and quantum physics and sciences and astrophysics just so they can deceive the world that some guy in Bodunk, Iowa wants to make a guy in Florida think that there's no atmosphere and satellites are fake. Come on, guys. At some point as human beings, we got to be smarter than this. We got to stop doing dumb stuff. We're just embarrassing ourselves as a species on this planet. The reason why we're in the position that we're in is because of ego. It's because of the ego. We think we know every damn thing. We think we are smarter than everybody. We think we're the be-all, end-all. We know everything once we grasp onto some information. I've admitted mistakes that I've made and turned things around. Right here on this account. And back when I first started Forbidden Knowledge, I was guilty of this too. Sometimes I would see something online and I would be, ooh, that's crazy, and I would post it. This is going back in like 2013, 2014. And then a few times I did that and I found out that the information was actually incorrect. I was like, what the heck? Oh, shoot, I got to take this down. I would take it down and I would make a retraction post or just take it down and say, no. If people ask me about it on another post, say, hey, what happened to that post? I'd be like, man, that was incorrect information. See, I took the ego away. So after that, what started happening is every time I would see something, all right, on social media, that was something that I would normally post or be interested in learning about or posting or showing to people, whether it's controversial or not, I go, oh, interesting. Now what I do is I don't post it right away. I go and research it. I've been doing that since 2014. Now I stop. I said, if this is really interesting enough, if this is true, I got to go check this out for myself. Before I even try to post it, let me go research this and make sure it's accurate. And so I go dig into it, research it. Guess what, guys? 70% of the time, it's garbage. 70% of the time, it's absolute downright garbage. As we say in Spanish, basura. Okay? Garbage. So you got to toss it out. And then I'll see people, big accounts, that will post similar things or the same thing because they fell for it as well. And where I didn't post it because I researched it, I go and I don't believe in embarrassing people. I don't believe in trolling people's accounts. You'll never see me contact somebody on there. You'll never see me comment on somebody's post and say, this is fake news and this is garbage and blah, 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 blah. You're not going to see me do that. I'm too intelligent and I have too much etiquette for garbage like that. That's low-level thinking. People who do that are low-level people that have low frequencies. I send a DM to that account, but hey, man, by the way, this thing you posted, I checked into it myself. It's not accurate information. And then I leave it at that. After that, it's up to them. I gave them the information in a very nice and calm way and treated them with respect and dignity and used proper etiquette. Now I just walk away. And would you believe that so far, 100% of the time, and I've done this dozens of times, one person took it down. So I would say 99.9% of the time, out of the last 8 years, one person realized they were wrong, took the post down. But everyone else, out of the other dozens and dozens of people, they just leave it up. Because it's getting a lot of attention. It's getting views, man. People are reading this. People are commenting on it. I'm getting views. I'm getting follows. Even though I know it's wrong, I'm going to leave it up. Even though I know it's garbage, it's fake. That whole thing with China launched a sun into the sky. China ain't launched no damn sun in no damn sky. That was just a few weeks ago. China did not create a sun and launch it into the sky. What China did was they built an underground chamber where they actually created an actual, it's like a generator. It's like a fusion generator. And it burned just as bright and hotter than the sun. It's a way of creating energy, almost like a nuclear power plant, right? So they built this thing and they turned it on and it worked. And it created a lot of energy. They never launched it into the damn sky like a kite. What they did was somebody took a video of a sunset, of a whole bunch of people watching a sunset in Asia. And this sunset came down over time. And so they took that video clip and then they played it in reverse and made it look like the sun was launching from the ground, going back into the sky in reverse. People can't even detect that the video is actually playing in reverse just by the body language of the people that's sitting there with their cell phones watching it. It was a scam video that somebody made to trick the masses and to get you following and liking and sharing and spreading more fake news. And so I went to accounts that was posting this fake news and I said, hey guys, China didn't launch a sun. There's nobody launching suns into space. It was an underground generator that they built, a fusion generator that burned hotter than the sun when they turned it on in terms of the power source. But nobody launched a sun into the damn sky, you know. But you think they'd take it down? No, they left it up. They all left it up. They left it all up. You know why? Getting a lot of views and likes. And that's more important than the truth these days. That's more important than the truth. So I'm glad that person typed it in the comments. Proper knowledge. That's why I'm ranting like this. Proper knowledge. Important. You don't got to agree with everything everybody says. You don't got to agree with everything I say. And guess what? You won't. And guess what, guys? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not agreeing with me. There's nothing wrong with not agreeing with somebody else. There's nothing wrong with me not agreeing with you. But at the same time, when we're sharing information that's not proper knowledge and you're made aware of it, and you can easily track it back and figure out, oh, this isn't good information to be posting because it's going to get shared around. Even if my account's small, it's still going to have a butterfly effect on the world. And you still do it anyway. Well, then you're being inconsiderate to the consciousness of the collective, and you're letting your ego override the ultimate mission, which is to help everybody on the planet learn and become better. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens. Proper knowledge. I'm glad that person, whoever that was, I missed that account, whoever that was who typed that in my comment feed, I'm glad they brought that up because that's super duper duper important. You know what I'm saying? Super important. So anyway, guys, it was a great day today. I had a great breakfast with Billy the Billionaire. I'm going to do a TV show with Billy. It's going to be called Breakfast with Billy because I'm Billy and he's Billy. And the knowledge that we drop when we're talking, just our regular conversation is so deep and intense, it needs to be recorded and filmed. So it's going to be almost like a quasi-reality show where we're going to be just vibing and eating and talking, right? And we'll record it and make it into a show, Breakfast with Billy. So we're working on that now because our conversations, man, some of that stuff is just, people have no idea. It's incredible, incredible information, incredible knowledge. And so we're going to, not all of them, but we're probably going to share, some of them and start working on that. So probably maybe towards this fall, we'll see the first episode, Breakfast with Billy, coming out. A lot of our shows are in post-editing. We had a lot of new shows. There are probably 5 new shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV right now. 5 new shows are already out and aired. I'm going to start putting up the promo for these shows so people can know that they're out there. All of our subscribers are very happy. These shows are incredible. High production level, Netflix quality production, Amazon quality production. They're very happy with that. My Anunnaki History series, my new TV show, it was going to be called Ancient Connections. I changed it to Anunnaki History. And that's also in post-production. A lot of great stuff going on. And we have the documentary coming out, Black Knight Satellite, The Untold Story, coming out June 5th in limited theaters. And then it's going to be on Forbidden Knowledge TV as well. Okay, you're going to love this documentary. It's going to open your mind up to a lot of incredible concepts and ideas and make you ask a lot of questions, which is what the whole purpose and goal of this thing is. So I'm excited about that. And already working on the next documentary. And when we go to Egypt this October, I'm going to start filming a new documentary. It's called Living in the Shadow of the Pyramids. And it's going to be an amazing documentary on the life of the people living literally in the shadow of the pyramids. And it's going to be eye-opening. In some ways, it's going to be heartbreaking as well. And it's also going to be a reality check for who we are and the people that live in other more forward-thinking countries, the benefits we have, and not to take life for granted. When you see a 7-year-old kid working 60 hours a week, a grown man hard labor that I wouldn't even do, just to eat bread all week and make $20 a month. When you see that, and you find the reality of this, the places I'm going to take you to in this documentary are going to show you ghettos so hardcore that the hardest murderer out of Chicago, the hardest Crip in blood out of California, wherever the hell they are, they wouldn't survive a week. They wouldn't survive a week. They'd be crying like a baby for something. They'd be wanting a toilet to piss in, a shower to take, a bathroom to take a shower, all right? A sink to wash their hands in. You got to take sand and wipe your ass with your hand over there. All right, that's how you wipe your ass. They don't even know. There's no windows. There's no doors. There's no water. There's no running water. There's no bathrooms. There's no beds. They're sleeping in collapsed structures. $100 a month is a high income. Yeah. People over here, that's why I have no room. When I travel the world because it gives me another perspective on life where there's no excuses. Like there's literally, for me, like there's no way in the world I can have an excuse for anything. I don't want to hear nothing about I'm blaming the white man, I'm blaming this guy, I'm blaming this government, I'm blaming no excuses. Zero excuses. Because why? Because I done seen some things on this planet. I know what a hard life really is. Even my upbringing is like damn near living like a king compared to the places that I've been to. And that says a lot. That says a lot. You know, I mean, these kids who are doing all this killing and murdering and running around the streets and doing all this, somebody needs to put them in a teleporter and teleport their asses straight to Abydos, Egypt, with no guns and no money, and drop their ass off right in the center of town. And let's see if they can last a week before they end up getting sold as slaves to Libya, getting killed and getting their organs taken out, or end up in some labor camp. Give them a week. They wouldn't last. How long can they go without a toilet and a shower and a sink, fresh drinking water? They wouldn't even, the water that you have to drink, the water would kill them. They die from drinking water. They would die from the bacteria in the water. You know what I'm saying? So these people don't know what hard work really is, man. So that's why it's important to travel, to get different perspective on the world, on true reality, what's really going on out here on this planet. And then you understand from where you are. If you got a cell phone and you can watch me live on the internet right now through streaming internet Wi-Fi, you're probably doing better than 90% of the planet. Some of these countries I go to, they don't even have an electric grid. No grid, no power grid, no power grid. I remember I was hiking through the jungles of Cambodia, and I had to stay in a hotel a few times. And the hotel has its own internal generators. So when you leave your room, all the power shuts off. You're going out into 100 degree to 120 degree temperature with 100% humidity every single day. As soon as you walk out, it's like somebody opened the oven and you took a deep breath in from a hot oven. And it's like that consistently. There's no break from it. Then you think you're coming back home to a nice, cool room? No. The room is like 80 degrees, 90 degrees. There's no AC. The AC doesn't turn on until you come back to your room because they have to conserve power. They're running on gas generators just to keep the power on over there. You know? A lot of the people there, 70% of the people have no electricity at all. They're living like this in the Stone Ages. No power, no electricity. Lanterns and candles, you know. They take a bath in the river that is full of so much garbage and debris. Everybody dumps their trash in the river. They dump all their bottles and it's just a waste, it's a cesspool. But that's where they got to take a bath and wash their clothes and get their drinking water. Yeah, so, you know, it's incredible. It's incredible to go and see some of this stuff and actually live it firsthand. It will change the way your brain understands how good you have it, how good you really, truly have it, and then not take what you have for granted. Stop complaining about every little tiny thing. Of course, you know, we're out here, we're trying to expose what's going on in the world, but at the same time, if you're doing nothing but complaining and not providing any solutions or looking for solutions, then you're part of the problem too. It's okay to be like, man, this is not right, this is messed up. But at the same time, okay, this is messed up, but how can we find a way to weave through this thing or find a better way or get an angle that we can make it better for ourselves or our family? Or how can we fix this problem completely? And if I don't know how to fix it, how can I find somebody that can help me fix it, or find somebody providing a solution and take part in that? How can I be part of that change? We can't be whining and complaining like little babies 24/7. We got to change that. We got to change it around. So we got to fix it. We got to fix it, man. So otherwise, man, pretty much I think that there's a lot of good stuff going on the planet too. Even though you see this Russia, Ukraine, and everybody's afraid of China, and there's slave trade going on in Libya and all these things. At the same time, you got to keep in mind, this still, in the current state that we are right now, is not the worst time it's ever been on this planet. In the current state we are right now today on the planetary, it's not even close to the worst times that we have seen on this planet. Not even close. So all these Christians running around, it's the end of days. The Lord is coming any minute now. Wrong. Fake news. Lord ain't coming any minute now. Not the end of days, guys. Sorry. It's been 10,000 times worse than this before on this planet. I can go back to the papal inquisitions. You thought Hitler was bad? You thought he was bad? Let's talk about the popes. Killed and tortured 80 million people on this planet. 80 million. You think now times is bad? 80 million people ain't getting killed and murdered and tortured right now. Not even close to that number. Not even close to that number. 80 million people murdered and tortured. And if you don't believe me, look it up. And you can go to the museums that they have in Rome, and you can see the torture tools that they used to use. They put them on display for you. They used to take women and take something called the Pope's spear. And the Pope's spear was this device that looked like a pear and with a spherical tip. They would insert it into the vagina, and then it had a clamp spring system. They would release those springs, and it just explodes in your vagina. That's the Pope's spear. You know why? Because you wouldn't convert to Christianity. So we got to blow up your coochie. You think times are bad now? They would take a pyramid structure with a giant spire at top, a steel spire, needle thin, and they would raise a man up, and they would have him up in the air, and they would get him leveraged to where it would come down in his anus, and they would raise him and drop him, raise him and drop him in the center of town square. And if you don't convert over to this Christianity, this is going to happen to you. Yeah. And they went around the whole planet doing this, taking the chief of the tribe. We're going to torture you to death so that your people can see this, and now they're going to speak our language and they're going to follow our new religion. Or this is going to happen to everybody. Then let's look at the American Holocaust. They didn't teach you that in school, did they? The American Holocaust? They didn't teach you that. You didn't hear about that one, did you? Yeah. Over the course of a couple hundred years, they killed 111 indigenous natives in the Americas. They meaning, unfortunately, people who came from Europe. They came over and said, you know what, we're going to steal this whole thing. We're going to take this whole continent. The whole thing. We're going to take the whole continent. We want the whole thing. We don't want a small piece. We don't want to negotiate. We don't want to work something out. We're going to take the whole damn continent. And then we're going to take all their resources. And then whoever's left that's alive, we'll make them work for us so they can have a place to lay their head and sleep. And if they don't want to work for us, we'll just kill them too or make them into slaves. I read the whole war list for the 111 murders, 111 million murders. I read the whole war list on my YouTube account. That's also on Forbidden Knowledge TV. It's called the American Holocaust. I went through every documented war and the years and what tribes were slaughtered, if you don't believe me. 111 million. Again, Hitler looks like an angel compared to the American Holocaust and the Papal Inquisition. So if you're thinking for any reason in your brain that the way the world is now is the worst it's ever been and it's the end times and Christ is coming, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Congratulations, you've been punked. Because it ain't coming. The only person that's coming to save you is you. And when you wake up and realize that that voice you keep hearing in your head that you think is God is actually your voice, when that voice turns from a man's voice that you fabricated with your own brain, and eventually it merges or it morphs, and you get to the day where you realize the voice in your head actually sounds like you, when it actually changes from that fake voice and you hear your own echo in your own mind, that's when you reach a higher level of consciousness. That's when you reach a high level. When you hear that voice and that voice is actually your voice, then you pretty much could say, man, I made it. Until then, you're living in a delusionary state. If you keep calling God a he and giving God a gender and won't he do it and he gonna save me and he's good all the time. He's good all the time. I'm living here, I'm living in a mansion. I'm in the back house of my house, I'm living in a mansion. Or I can go 20 miles down the street and there's people living on the street. Won't he do it? Good all the time. Come on now, let's use some logic. Do you think that there's a God that can create universes that's saying, you know what? Billy deserves a mansion, but this guy down the street, he deserves to be homeless. Thanks for the badges. He loves me, but you know what? I think I'm gonna make him homeless because if there's just something about Billy, I want to give him this mansion. That's the people getting jobs. God gave me this job. God ain't give you no job. You got a job because you're qualified. You passed the test. You passed the interview. You had a good resume. You know what you're doing. You're passionate about yourself. You have faith and confidence in your skills and abilities. And somebody said, I want to give this person a chance. There's nobody running around creating planets and universes that comes all the way back and says, you know what? Let me pause this. Let me pause creating this planet for a minute. I got to get back over here because so-and-so just needs to get this job. Meanwhile, there's 20 people on the corner, right on the street, right around the corner, begging for change at the red light. You see how we're thinking? You see how we're thinking? It's ridiculous. A whole catastrophe happens with tornadoes, comes through a whole neighborhood and destroys every house. A few houses remain. You interview the person. God saved our house. Do you really believe that? That God saved your house and destroyed all these other people's houses? Well, they're infidels now, right? There's a famous scripture in the Bible, in the New Testament, where, see, I'm an expert on the Bible. Nobody can debate me on the Bible because I'm an expert in this Bible. I know all the verses, I know everything, from front to back, back to front, all the broken down languages, all the translations and mistranslations as well. But in the New Testament, there's a verse in the Bible where, a passage where Jesus is speaking to a small multitude. And his disciples are around him, who, by the way, the disciples were ignorant men. In other words, they were illiterate. They couldn't read or write. So if you think the disciples wrote anything in the Bible, again, you're fooling yourself. The disciples wrote zero. They didn't know how to read or write. But anyway, that's a whole nother life. There was a bunch of women walking by a structure, by a building, an old building, while he was out there talking. It was a windy day. The wind came. Some of the loose stones at the top of that building came crushing down on those women as they were walking by and killed them. The disciples right away, oh man, they were with sin. They died for their sins. And you know what Jesus said? AKA Yeshua, his real name. He said, no, man, stop it. These women didn't die from no damn sin. He said they were basically in the wrong place at the wrong time, is his wording. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, man. Sometimes shit just happens. Stop. You're going too far. You see? We got to stop attributing everything that's happening from some outside source. Something bad happens to somebody. God's will made this happen to them. No. Sometimes it's called coincidence. Sometimes it's called bad timing, depending on how you want to phrase it. Wrong place, wrong time, right? Sometimes it's based on our own decision. Every decision we make has a consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. I was talking to my driver this morning. We were coming back from the beach. My driver, Junior, if he's on here now, shout out to Junior. He's been driving me for years, right? And so we're coming back and we're talking about, these kind of topics, like people understanding outside source, inside source, when is a person going to realize it's them putting themselves in situations? He was talking about a place that he was located in with my other driver that I have, because we have to bounce back and forth sometimes. One is busy, one's not. Boosie. We were in a location, in a place outside that Junior could sense was bad vibes, bad energy there. And he was like, we're exposed right now. We're in a place where anything can pop off at any moment. We need to get out of here. And his friends were like, what are you talking about, man? He said, no. We're putting ourselves in a situation where there's a probability, the probability factor of something negative happen is increased. And he spoke, he acted on that action, and they left. Another person that can't discern their own consciousness, not God, and I believe in God. So if you think it's not that I don't believe in God, you're wrong. I believe in the creator of the universe, by the way. What I'm telling you is, your mind talks to you, because why? You are God. God is you. It's the same exact entity that created the universe. It's the same exact entity that inhabits every atom inside your body. And if you don't believe that, then you don't believe in God at all. If you don't believe that God inhabits every atom, then you don't believe in God. You're just a delusional person that believes in magic. And so because God inhabits every atom and your entire body, including your brain, is made of atoms, you hear yourself think. You hear yourself talk to yourself. He said to himself, his God body said to himself, hey, get out of here, man. You guys are in a high probability negative situation. When negative energy moves, it doesn't care what's in its path. It will devour everything in its path. It does not care. It does not care. It will devour everything in its path. You can make a decision. I'm talking about making conscious decisions and the consequences of those decisions. You can put yourself in a situation where the probability odds are higher that something bad is going to happen to you, whether physically, emotionally, or whatever, right? And so you have a power, though, within you to hear your voice and then move yourself from one environment to another environment. And you could change the outcome probability, and you can reduce the probability factor of negative energy towards higher energy. And put yourself in a situation where you're less, not that it's guaranteed, but you're less likely to experience negative energy. It's based on your conscious decisions. It's the hermetic principle of cause and effect. Study the hermetic principles. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction if you look at it from a scientific point of view. Newton's law. Or every thought, every decision I make is going to have a consequence. It could be a good consequence or a bad consequence, but there will always be a consequence. You have to evaluate these things and listen to your own God consciousness. And then you got to discern that knowledge and act on it. That's how it works, guys. That's how it works. All right? So anyway, if you want to learn a lot about this stuff, guys, go to Forbidden Knowledge TV and log into the Forbidden Knowledge Mystery School, the Egyptian Mystery School. I think there's 40 episodes up there where I'm teaching the Egyptian mysteries. You got to check it out. All right? It's a lot of information. It's a lot to go through. It's about 36 hours of teaching. And all you got to do is subscribe for $7, and you can watch all of it. All right? Doing my best with as much reducing the costs and prices of everything. All my workshops this year have been free. I've cut that down to just subscribe and watch them. No more $200, $300 fees for workshops. Okay? That's an experiment I'm trying. Let's see if it works. People were saying, hey, man, I can't afford it. I want to be a part. I can't afford it. I can't pay the $150. I can't pay the $200. I can't pay the $300. Okay. Let's see if they'll sacrifice a subscription of only $7, 25 cents a day to be able to get access to over $10,000 worth of knowledge. Let's put your consciousness to the test and your real eagerness to learn and understand and grow as a person to the test. Are you going to buy a bag of weed, or are you going to get the knowledge? Let's find out. Let's see what's going to happen. The ball's in your court now. That's what I did. I said, okay, I'm going to put the ball in. Okay, I'll put the ball in your court. The ball's in your court now. Let's see what you're going to do. Let's see what you're going to do with it. Let's see what you're going to do with it. You know? So that's what's up. Anyway, guys, I want to get ready. I'm going to pack. I got to hop on an airplane. So I got to get back to doing what I'm doing. I got to go take a shower, pack, and hop on the plane and get out of here and take care of some business. All right? But I'll be back on later on. I might even hop back on going live tonight when I get to my destination. All right? I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for following Forbidden Knowledge. Please spread the word. Love and light and power and energy. Speak life into people. Teach them things that's going to make them change the way they think and see the world. Don't browbeat people into information, but give them the information. Drop the seeds on them Sit back and water it and watch it grow. Thank you for the badges, everyone. I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. I got to go pack. Peace.